welcome to Storm Reads, and today I'm going to do a weekly reads video. I've decided that I want to do that and pop them up on Sundays and just let you know what I've read through the week. I am counting a audiobook that I finished just a little while ago, even though it shouldn't really count for the week, but I'm counting it anyway. And so that means that I've got 3 books to talk about, and 2 of them were romance and then one's a cozy mystery. And I read Lady Ruthless by Charlotte Scott, and it's the first book in the Notorious Ladies of London series, I believe is what it's called. And this one is about the Earl of Sinclair. He's pretty much been ruined by this lady and his reputation, because she thinks that he killed her brother and his late wife. So Lady Calliope, she's decided that she's going to take matters into her own hand. So she writes a memoir in his name and talking about how he murdered these people and how he got away with it because of his station and all the other exploits that he's done. He's a little bit of a rogue and the things like that, and he does I think he owns or he is at this one notorious type of club, and so she writes all about that kind of stuff. And so he can't do anything because everybody thinks he's a really bad guy, and so nobody wants to do business with him. He can't find a lady to marry because he needs money, because he can't get any money any other way, and he needs to take care of his mother. And that's the only reason he really wants money, is so he can take care of his mother, which I thought was kind of sweet. And so he kidnaps a lady, Calliope, because he finds out who she's, the one that's been writing the memoirs, and he takes her to one of his rundown places that he has, because he hasn't had money to keep things up very well. And he tells her that what he's going to do, he's not going to kill her. She thinks, oh, he's going to kill me, but he goes, no, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to marry you. And so it's kind of a forced marriage, or blackmailed to marry type of trope, maybe. And yeah, so he's gonna make her marry him because he needs her money, and it's her fault that she's ruined him. So he's gonna make her pay for it and everything. And it wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it overall. I really like Sin. He was a really good character. You think he's a little bit rough, and whenever he first, he grabs her and he's gonna blackmail her and all that stuff, but really he's a decent guy. He didn't murder anybody, he didn't do anything, and he needs some way to survive, and he was thinking that marrying her is going to be the way to do it. He doesn't want to fall in love, he doesn't want any of that. He thought he fell in love with his first wife, but she ended up being not a nice person, and she ran around on him, and she made sure he knew about it and all the kind of things. So yeah, and the reason she thinks that Calliope thinks that he killed her brother is because her brother had been seeing his wife, Sin's wife. So she thinks that he had something to do with that. So she thinks that he is just a total bad guy. But the longer she's with him, the more she gets to see the side of him that she didn't know, because technically she really didn't know him, and she gets to thinking that maybe she was wrong about him, that he wasn't like this horribly bad person who murders people and gets away with it and everything. And so yeah, it was pretty good. They do, he does blackmail her into marriage and everything, and he's pretty much thinking, that it's just going to be an arranged marriage type thing, where after they're married and he gets the money to fix up the estates, take care of his mother and all that, she can just pretty much do whatever she wants. He doesn't really care. He's not looking for a love match or anything like that because of what happened with him and his first wife. and everything, but he starts to, to really like her and see her in a different light as well. And so it's just kind of cute watching them try to figure out their feelings and everything, especially since they were put together in such a circumstance. She doesn't want to fall for him because, I mean, he kidnapped her and forced her to marry him and all those things, but so basic, romance, historical romance. And I enjoyed it. I gave this one 3 stars. It was lacking just a little bit. It was a little slow sometimes, and I mean, I did like the characters and everything, and I did want to see them with their happily ever after type thing, but sometimes it just seemed a little bit slow. And then the next book I read was Lady Wallflower, which is the second book in the Notorious Ladies of London. It's by Scarlett Scott. I cannot say, that's like a tongue twister name. And I enjoyed this one a lot better. I think the premise of this one was just a lot funner. This one is about Lady Jo Danvers, and she is sort of the wallflower of her friends. She is part of the Ladies Suffrage Society, and I have a feeling that pretty much this whole series is going to be about the ladies in that group. And Callie, or Clappy, is one of her friends and everything. And so she's kind of tired of just being the one that's overlooked and always kind of standing back and not really participating in anything. She's never been in love. She's never been kissed. She's never had any of these things happen to her. So she, on a whim, she just decides to make a list. So she's made a list of how to be wicked. And one of them is like to kiss a guy. One of them is to have a rendezvous with a man, and to be to dance in the rain or something, to be out in the rain with a guy. This could mean removal of wet clothing. Select gentlemen carefully. Well, she was delivering this pamphlet to be published, and she accidentally encloses the list with the pamphlet, and so Elijah Decker is the guy who owns the publishing company, and he ends up with the list. And so after he gets this list, he just can't seem to get this out of his head and everything, because it's coming from Lady Josephine, who seems to be a lot more rigid, and he wouldn't think she would have thoughts of being wicked or whatever. And she never seems to give him the time of day. She's always real kind of straightforward with him, and she doesn't want anything to do with him. He has a reputation for being a big rake and a bad boy and everything, so she doesn't want anything to do with him. But he can't get this list out of his mind, so he decides to send her a note that says he's got the list. And so she goes to collect the list, but then she finds out that he's not wanting to let go of the list. He wants to help her fulfill the list and everything. And she's not quite sure if that's what she wants to do, because she knows about his reputation and everything. But there is something about him that she does like and everything. And so it's just kind of about them and the list, and he keeps the list and he won't give it back to her. And the banter between the two of them was a lot of fun, because and I thought it was funny because he tells her to, when they're at this party, to meet him in this blue room or whatever, but she doesn't show up. And for him being a ladies' man, and he's never had a woman not show up whenever he says be here. He expects the lady to be there, and she didn't show up, and that just makes him even a little bit more curious about her and everything. And he can't get that list out of his head, and he really wanted to help her with the list. And so, and it's funny, and some things happen, and I can't really say that turns it from one thing to another, like the actual kind of, I guess, trope that it would be, but I can't really say because I don't want to spoil anything. But I really liked Elijah Decker. He's different. He's definitely one of those bachelor guys who swears he's never going to get married, because he was in love at one time with a lady and she spurned him because he's not a lord. He's just a mister. He's Mr. Decker. But he's got loads and loads of money because he is the illegitimate child of a lord. And when that lord died, he gave him everything he had but his title. He wouldn't give him the title. And so he gave him all his money. So he's got all this money, and he invested it into all kinds of businesses. He has a publishing business, a shipping business. He makes pianos, and I mean, he just has all these businesses. But he's got this really, really kind and sweet side to him too, because of his upbringing. He also is a secret donor to like orphanages and hospitals and things like this, but he doesn't want people to know about that because he likes the other reputation that he has of being this bad boy. He collects erotic art and all these things. He likes to shock people and everything, but he's really a pretty decent guy. And I really liked Lady Jo too. She was really sweet, and it was kind of fun watching her kind of like, or reading, I guess, not watching, but reading her, get out of her shell and everything, and stuff. It was just really cute. And so I really like this one a lot better than the first one, and I gave this one 4 stars. The last thing that I finished this week was Murder Take 2 by Carol J. Perry, and this is the 10th book in the Witch City series, and it's a fun, cozy mystery series. I can't say it's like a favorite or anything, but it is a very enjoyable series, and I do enjoy reading it. I have one more book to go before I'm caught up in the series, so I'm excited about that. And this one has, Lee is a reporter, and she used to teach a class on how to be an investigator and stuff. And 2 of her students were these twins. I think their names were Roger and Ray, I think. And they're older and retired cops now, and they don't live in town anymore. I think they live somewhere else, but they contact her because I think it was their nephew. I think it was a nephew. It was a cousin or a nephew, but I think it was a nephew. Anyway, Cody's in trouble because he's been accused of murder, and they swear he didn't do it. And so they want to investigate, but before they get there, they thought they would see if Lee could do some sleuthing and everything before they actually arrive to kind of speed the process up. And so she agrees because she really liked the twins, and so she decides to go ahead and do some sleuthing. She tells her Aunt Libby, and her Aunt Libby wants to get in on it too because she liked the twins, and some of her friends get in on it, and they sort of call themselves the Angels and everything. And there's the one guy in the mix of them, and so they're kind of calling him like Charlie. And so Pete, her boyfriend, who is a detective, he's not really sure what to think about the Angels aspects of everything, but he says it's okay for them to do a little bit of sleuthing as long as they're careful, and he wanted to lay some ground rules, so whenever they have a meeting of the minds, he shows up so that he can kind of tell them what they can and can't do and everything. And it was fun. The guy who died, it seems like he had a lot of reasons for people not to like him, and there were several people that might have had a grudge against him and everything. One of them is this handsome professor guy who keeps wanting to take Lee out on these kind of dates, but he said he's going to just talk about the guy and everything and what he knows about it and everything. And then there's this other guy who's a dancer. His name's Eddie, and he a bit of a suave kind of dancer guy that seems to kind of flirt with her a little bit too. So she's got quite a few guys, and it's like, are they trying to hit on her so that she doesn't think they're a suspect or what, But she's got Pete, so she doesn't care about them. And then, of course, we've got the lovely Cat Orion, who he was a witch's familiar, and you learn about him from the first book and everything. And how Lee comes to have him in her possession. And it does take place in Salem, so there is a bit of a paranormal kind of aspects to it. But it's not real heavy. Like, there are supposed to be witches in town. Her best friend is a witch, and she does a psychic like show and does readings and everything on TV. And that's something that Lee used to do. She ended up having to do it. Lee has had several jobs. She's been Crystal Moon and had done this psychic reading things on TV. She's taught a class on television stuff and how to interview people and do that kind of stuff. And now she's an actual field reporter. It's like she's just going from one thing to another. So it's kind of interesting to see the progressions of her jobs and the things that she's been doing and everything. And I am excited to get to the next one to see what happens, and excited that I'm going to be caught up on a series because that doesn't happen too often. This one was one for my series about series, so I can at least check off another one on there, and so I'm happy about that. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed this one, and I gave it 4 stars. And that's everything that I read during the last week. And what I am currently reading, which I've really got to step it up and get to this, some more of this, at least read at least 20 or 30 pages. But yeah, I'm still reading this one. It's going to be on this, it's going to be on here for a while. I didn't read any of it last week, so yeah. I'm not going to talk much about that because I'm sure if you've seen any of my other videos, you've heard me talking about that. It's a witchy book, and I'm hoping it's going to get better. And I am also reading, since Saturday started the categorically romance readathon, I started my first category romance, which is Rising Danger by, if I can say her name, Joanna? I can't remember what the name is or say it, but you'll see it here. I'll probably butcher it if I try to say it. And it's a love-inspired suspense, and it's about, I think her name is Bristol. I just started it, so her name is Bristol. She works for a bomb squad. I think she, if I remember right, she works for like a private like firm. She used to work for the police, but something happened. You don't really know everything yet, but something happened. There's a reason why she doesn't work for that bomb squad anymore, and then she works for this other one. And they're kind of more like, I guess maybe like a search and rescue bomb squad type thing or whatever, because they're at the very beginning, there's a bomb threat, and her dog is sent in and everything to find the bomb. She can't undetonate it or whatever. She can't do anything with the bomb. Her job was just to find the bomb, and then she had to call the bomb squad and everything. So I'm not sure exactly, and then after something happens, she has to go in and like search for bodies if there's a bomb. So she's like part of a bomb squad type thing, but not, I can't remember if it says what she's called and everything. Like I said, I just started it. I think I'm 18% into it now. And she meets up at the scene where there's the bomb threat. She finds out that the guy, it's at a dam, and the guy who's in control of the dam security and everything ends up being her ex boyfriend or whatever, and she's not real happy about that, but she's gonna have to work with him because there are other threats, and they don't know which dams or whatever might have a bomb on them, since they found one, but one went off and has injured and killed people, and so they're in a hurry. Now it's kind of like a race to find out where the next bomb is going to be, so she's going to have to work with him whether she likes it or not. And so she thinks he's the same reckless guy from her past, but he's changed a lot, and he's going to have to show her that he's changed a lot, I'm guessing, and everything. And I'm enjoying it so far and everything. I love romantic suspense. That's one of my favorites. Besides historical, I like romantic suspense or intrigue, like both of them. And speaking of intrigue, after I get done with that one, I would like to, and that that one's for the prompt read a category romance that came out in 2021. And this one is going to be the next one I think I want to try, because I'm really super curious because it's older. And this is Operation Snare by Eve Gladstone. And this one is from 1987, so it was the prompt read a book that was published before 2000. And so I'm kind of curious about this, since it's such an older romance book, what it's going to be like. And I also need to get started on Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which is number 2 in the Shadow and Bone series. And me and my friend Barb are buddy reading this, and I don't want to wait too late and then have to like race through it. And I'm not sure how I'm going to like it, so I need to get started on it now in case I don't like it too much. So that's pretty much everything I have to say for today. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.